Welcome to day 3 of Walkabout 2019. As you can see from the map, this is not a particularly long day, but it is still 8 hours of car time, driving up and over the mountains on some twisty passes and cut back and forth kind of roads, and then up through some lovely parts of California over to where Sequoia National Park is. So it's a day of some real picturesque scenery, some awesome mountain passes, some wonderful things to look at. A day we weren't looking to go very quickly. A day of enjoyment, if you will. Of course, the first thing we had to do the next day was watch the U.S. women win the World Cup, bring home that trophy for the United States. But then, of course, breakfast. You gotta love that free hotel breakfast. We started the day shooting across the Southern California desert across Highway 58. Looks about like this the whole way. Pretty boring and flat, upward to Kramer Junction. And then we turn up 395 and head all the way up past Indian Wells to the Chimney Peak Recreation Area, and more specifically, the Sherman Pass, which runs up over the Sierra Nevadas. Sherman Pass Road starts out looking pretty flat as you run towards that bottom tip of the Sierra Nevadas, but then it climbs up and up and up and up and up and up. It peaks out about 9,200 feet, right about where the road goes near Kennedy Meadows. If you don't know anything about Kennedy Meadows, it's a very famous stop on the Pacific Crest Trail for long hikers that are doing the through hike across the western part of the United States from Mexico to Canada. Shortly after passing Kennedy Meadows, we decided to stop for lunch. It was already that time of day. Hi, Amy. Wave to the people.
Hey, everybody.
This is our lovely little spot we've picked out for lunch here in whatever forest. I have no idea where we are. Troy Meadows Campground.
Yep.
It is quite lovely, as you can see. Trying to pan better since Dad yelled at me for panning too quickly. Eventually, Sherman Pass flattens out a little bit up on the top and runs across the Kern Plateau of Sequoia National Forest, and finally dumps us out on the other side where the Great Western Divide Highway is. The Great Western Highway is a little bit of a scenic highway that runs through the lower Sierra Nevadas up towards Ponderosa. From Ponderosa, we took a left up over 190 that went past Cedar Slope and Camp Nelson up through some of the beautiful mountains in the region. It was really quite beautiful driving across 190. We saw some lovely wildflowers, a couple of waterfalls. Eventually we dumped out into Springville, home of Roadie's German Auto Repair. After we left Mater behind in Springville, we headed up some of the flatter regions on the west side of the mountains, past the Circle J Ranch, all the way over to Lake Kewah as we headed up Highway 198, heading towards Sequoia. It was about 5 o'clock about the time we reached Sequoia National Park. We were starting to get a little hungry, of course, but first we had to drive up through the park and enjoy the scenery, and that started with some scenery right here next to the street sign. If you're not familiar with Sequoia National Park, it's about a 400,000 acre park in southern Sierra Nevadas, home to a whole bunch of sequoia trees, obviously, including the general Sherman tree. But we didn't go visit those kind of trees until the next day, but on this day we got to drive up through the lower portions of Sequoia, enjoy some of the beautiful scenery and some amazingly big, huge, awesome trees. Some beautiful and stunning vistas, some lovely, wonderful winding roads, beautiful sunlight and shade through the trees, all the way up to the part of the park where we were going to camp. probably about 7 p.m. when we finally hit our campsite. I think I picked out a pretty good one. Lot 115 in the upper Lodgepole campground here in Sequoia National Park. Got a little fire going. You can see the park was pretty crowded, but we got a spot on the outskirts. Cooked up a few dogs on the grill. I think honestly this was one of my favorite nights of the whole trip. Having this campfire, sitting outside by it, enjoying that a little bit. It was one of the first nights we had a really good camp experience. All in all, it was a beautiful day, a beautiful drive, beautiful scenery. Amy and I had a wonderful time in the car and sightseeing along the way. Anyway, that's the end of day 3. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did, and I hope you'll come back again tomorrow for day 4. See you then.